Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of Firearms Training by John G. Johnson. And welcome to our live podcast. We are live on Facebook this evening. We're on our YouTube channel. We are on X or Twitter. And we are still having a little bit of challenges with Instagram and Rumble. So we're working on that as we go. You know the drill. If you're on here, comment, let us know where you're from. If you're watching it through the live, you can go ahead and let us know you're watching through live. And if you're doing watch a playback at one time or another, you can put playback as well. And then if you let us know exactly where you're from and if you're new to the channel and new to the live, we appreciate that as well. Well, good evening. Hope you're having a great weekend. And I hope that Monday treated you well. And Tuesday, it is Tuesday at 6:02 in the evening, and we are got a great show for you this evening. We're putting together a lot of different stuff right now. We are sending out more information as we speak. Looks like there is 9 of us on here. Let's see, 10 of us on here. I'd like to see this get to about 20 to 25. It'd be awesome. It helps out tremendously. Don't forget your job. Your job this evening is to comment if you can. Your job this evening is to make sure you are subscribed to my channel. There's been some challenges of people getting subscribed and unsubscribed, and I'm sure it's not anything that um, the powers that be are doing. It's just something that the computer does on a regular basis. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel. That is your mission this evening if you can. And then if you can physically go to our some of our YouTube videos and make sure you put a like and a comment and hit that bell icon. And every time we upload a video, you guys will be the first to know. And that's important. So let's take a look at some of the comments this evening just to make sure everything's working for us. And let's see who we have on here so far. So let's go. Mark J. Thank you very much. Hello, Mark. How are you? Mark? Where are you from, buddy? California. Beautiful. That's awesome. That's awesome. A real gun-friendly state there, huh? Jim, nice to see you, buddy, from Vermont. Chris, loud and clear on YouTube. Thank you. Natasha, mom. Hello, Natasha's mom. How are you, sweetheart? I hope you're feeling good, and I hope you're going to watch this show and like it. We always count on Natasha and his mom to be here, and you guys are all the natural ones that are always here. We appreciate you very much. Danny Schultz. Danny is a good one of our members here, and he helps out tremendously. We appreciate you being on the live this evening too. Go ahead and let us know if there's anything you see that I say this evening that you agree with or you don't agree with. Kind of let me know. We put together a list of things that misconceptions on what we think's the best home defense weapon. Everyone comes in once in a while and says, "Excuse me, guys, a little bit of Johnny Juice." Uh, People can always come here and say, well, "Hey, you know what? I need that home defense shotgun because that home defense shotgun is the best, and it's going to work the best for me. I don't have to aim. I don't have to learn how to use it. I don't have to anything. It's going to be this big wrath of bullets, and I don't have to be proficient or equal. If I rack it, it's going to scare every bad guy away. So that's the best overall defensive weapon that I could have." And I totally disagree. And most people aren't going to like what I say this evening. But if you kind of think about the common sense of a firearm being in the home that everyone can use, a 12 gauge shotgun is aggressive with me. So I can't imagine taking a 97, 87, 67, 57, 47, 37, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old teen and letting them shoot a 12 gauge shotgun. It's just somewhat aggressive for defensive purposes. And remember, it's not about Deborah Hill. Nice, Deborah. Are you new to the channel? Have you been on before? I don't recognize the name, but I'm sure glad you're on. Deborah Hill from Maryland. Oh, let's see me some crabs. I always watch those guys, the Maryland crabs, Maryland blue crabs, I think. We do blue crabs here too, but the Maryland blue crabs is a little different. I always want to go to one place that puts the paper down and throws the crabs on the table, and they give you a wood mallet. That seems like a good thing. That would be awesome. Well, great to see you, Deborah. Oh, great to see you comment. Thank you. Um, so we have a great show for you this evening. It's what I think are the defensive weapons that most people either have or think about getting, and what the pros and cons are of each one. And of course, we didn't go into details of 50 years, but just a couple comments for each one, and it'll give us an idea. So, if you're local watching this and you are on Facebook or anything else, like I want to remind you guys about our Monday night league night. It's every Monday night at 6 p.m. We're doing a 22. Any kind of pistol you can bring and shoot our league. Our league is a 300 league match style. You shoot 10 rounds in the first first round. You shoot 10 rounds in the second round and 10 rounds in the third round. And we do a 10, 9, 8, 7 circle, and we count the first five and the second five. We add those up and give you the points. Tom Hirschcraft, who second week in a row, Tommy Boy has been our victor. Tom shot 298. He shot a couple hundreds last night. Obviously, he's using a Ruger, and we had no. I take that back. He's using a Sig, the new 22 Sig. He did. I think that's a P 322 with a red dot, and he shot almost a perfect score last night. So we had a lot of guys that were here, a lot of girls that were here last night. We'd love to have you. It's $20 paying, and then every week we pay out the top three. And Tommy won twice in a week. So one of his competition guys were on vacation this week. We got an all new guy that came in and got second place. And Natasha got third place. I'm so proud of her. She actually um, is really kicking ass in the 22 range there. So 22 people, guys, you think about a 22. Most people do not control the weapon like they do a 9 millimeter. So they tend to move it up and down, right or left, because they don't think they need to control it like they need to control a 9 millimeter. But you must control every weapon exactly the same. Put as much power on that 22 as you put on anything else. It's very challenging for people, even myself, to not get past the point of that weapon not needing the control that it needs. 22, it drifts an awful lot because of how light they are. They're polymer frame guns, and they have very little recoil management we have to work on. So we really have to control the weapon the best we can. So if you have an opportunity, come down and shoot one of our Monday night leagues. It starts at 6 o'clock. It's $20, and we're done probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock. By the time we got done last week was about 7:40, and then we shot for another 30 minutes or so, shooting each other's pistols and having some good camaraderie and just picking on people and having a good time. And it's a good way. Now next month, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a 22 9 millimeter in your choice every week. We're going to do 1 week 22, 1 week 9 millimeter, and 1 week your choice. And we'll do that a couple weeks and see how that goes. That should be fun because a lot of the guys, surprisingly, I thought everyone would have a 22, but there's a lot of people who don't buy 22s. They don't have them. 22 is a great product to put in your portfolio. That's going to give you the ability to come and shoot the range, shoot your 9 millimeter, do your 50 rounds, and then you can do 150 rounds with 22, and it's economically cheap, and you still get the same effect. So if you shoot a Glock 19 on a regular basis, that Glock 44 is a perfect example of a good choice. That SIG that Tom shoots, that 322 from SIG, one of their 320s or one of their um, the the micro axis. would be a good choice because they're about the same frame style. So that's kind of one of those deals. Smith and Wesson has their 22 and their full size, so you can get something like that. So it is a good opportunity for you. All right, so let's start our PowerPoint presentation about the laws and regulation. We'll come back check the comments at the end. If you want to make a comment, you can always make a comment, and we'll come back to it after the fact and read everyone's comments or any questions you might have. If you come up with something, go ahead and put it right in the comments so you won't forget it. And then we come back to comments, we can get to each one of them. All right. So let's add this to the screen. Here we go. So, from the range to the essential home defense top 10 weapons, pros and cons. Now, I guess you guys, if you want to comment below and let me know what you think the person's going to say, what is the top choice for most people? Now, this is not factor. It's just in my opinion, due to the fact that most people who come here, they ask for this product and this product first, not thinking about all the other negatives about it. And I'm sure you're going to know what it is but when I show it to you. But the very first one, oh, you know what? I can talk about Rumble real quick. I apologize, guys. Two screens before we get started. If you haven't been to Rumble yet, you need to check it out. It is a friendly 2A option. It's like YouTube. They have videos, they have everything you need. It's pretty easy to get in and share our platform. This right down here is my registrar, so you can go to right to look for me. It's John the Firearms instructor on Rumble, and you can do just like you do on Facebook or anything else. You could follow me, and once you follow me, then you're going to get all the stuff we're putting. We're putting about 10 or 12 things a month on Rumble. We're sharing some of our original YouTube stuff from the past and adding it on. We're put some original stuff on Rumble as well that we do not do on YouTube. But YouTube and Rumble are pretty much side by side right now. The only difference is, as a gun business, we get challenged a lot, and a lot of the powers to be don't like our platform or don't like what we do. So this is another 2A friendly option for us. And if you get an opportunity, please go over there and check that out. All right. And then again, this is the free book, guys. We actually have this on our website, or you could take your phone and scan that QR code, and you'll get a free copy of this. This is our interactive ebook. What that means is every secret we have on here, this is the 10 secrets from a firearms instructor. Every secret we have has a video attached to it, and it makes it simple and easy for you to learn. This is a great gift if you have family that are thinking about starting to go with you to the range and you want to get them started. This is a great book. It gives you a lot of the tips I use on a regular basis almost every day. But not only are they going to be able to read it, but they're going to be able to watch one of our videos that correspond to this tip that we are actually talking about in the secrets. So you can give yourself an opportunity to give one of these out. That'd be awesome. And that QR code right there will allow you to order this. Or you can visit our website and click our website. And on the front page of our website, about halfway down, there is the link to this as well. All right, so let's go to that first one. What's the first one? You got it, shotgun. Because everyone thinks a shotgun is the most accurate thing you can have. It's physically this big, wide, 36-inch circle of bullets, and you cannot miss. Bah, that's wrong. You can miss with a shotgun, ladies and gentlemen. Think about what a shotgun really is made for. It's made for dispersing bullets in a big circle. The challenge of most shotguns is they're more accurate. That the picture you're seeing there is a 12 gauge, 18-inch barrel defensive shotgun. It's going to hold 4+1, maybe 3+1, according to what the thing is. But this is a 12 gauge pump shotgun. doesn't which manufacturer I show you. Your price points on these 12 gauge shotguns can start at I've got one on the wall right now for $189, and they could go all the way up to six, seven, $800. Now, obviously, the manufacturer of what you're buying is a little it makes a difference. Mossberg, Remington are the two name brands we talked about. Winchester, these are all name brand products. They're going to be in the threes to fives. And then you can look at the one on the wall I was telling you about, which is a Turkish gun. Turkey has their fingerprints on the shotgun market at this point in time, so they make a lot of the inexpensive shotguns in the world. So, what's the pros of a shotgun? The pros of a shotgun is highly effective at semi close range. Now, I can tell you this by pattern shotguns, which means we take it to the range and we put rounds down range at 3 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, 10 yards, and kind of give you an idea of how big this buckshot and slugs. That's the two major things that we use in a 12 gauge shotgun. A buckshot is the terminology, and it is anywhere from 1-aught, 2-aught, 3-aught. The a 12 gauge triple-aught buck is going to be 9 rounds of a 32 caliber bullet. You'll see that here in a little bit. And that 9 rounds opens up into a somewhat decent pattern past 20 feet. And it gives you the ability to not have to be as accurate, but you got to understand that bullet has to release from the barrel and open up in a distance that's going to work for us. Now, in a point and shoot situation, it's pretty effective because they're still. If you think about the circumference of the barrel, the bullet itself, or the buckshot itself, is going to only be a little bit bigger than what it is until it gets out to a certain point. And there are stopping power is one of them, and the versatility, which means there's various amount of ammo. A lot of times now, guys, is we're talking about if you're going to use it in short distances, you can actually put in 4 shot, 6 shot, 8 shot. It's still an ounce of shot. It's just because it's all tight together, it may not be high brass. High brass means that the buckshot is got more brass load on the back of it, which gives you more high performance round, which gives you more kick. Or if you take a 7.5 dove load, it's going to be less recoil, but your ounce of ounce of pellets are going to be more tighter together, which in turn may work for you in a defensive situation. Our job is to stop the bad guy, not do the opposite of that. So we want to make sure that we're using the right ammo for the right thing. Buckshot and slugs. A slug is a piece of lead that's in an ounce form that is one chunk of it's one big bullet going out of it versus 9 bullets going out. So, what are the cons of a shotgun? Well, we could talk about recoil management, can't we? Recoil can be a strong challenge to handle for some users. What does that mean? That means when I talked to you before about, I can tell you when you're shooting a 12 gauge shotgun for me, you get a lot of kick on the shoulder. You get a little on your cheek if you're going to cheek it as well as you can. You're going to get the recoil management problem with the bullets. The barrel's going to raise above your line of sight. Keep in mind we have to rack this shotgun to put another round in it. And sometimes the size of the shotgun or the weight of the shotgun is a little harder to control for some people. And because the barrel length and what it is in tight spaces, it may be a little more challenging to maneuver around certain spots. Many people go, you know what? The 12 gauge shotgun has all the pluses and very little minuses. But there are a lot of minuses on this because if you're not educated on how the weapon works, and how to load it and unload it. There's a little learning curves that we got to get our head around. Not complicated, but there is a little bit of how to load a semi-automatic shotgun versus a pump shotgun, and how to unload them. So there is a tad bit of learning curve. Should it be part of a portfolio? Absolutely, you need to have one of these for a portfolio. Remember, most people don't live in a one-bedroom house; they have multiple rooms in the house. And remember, everything besides the handgun is to get you to the handgun, if that makes sense. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to cheat here right now and tell you the best overall home defense weapon would be a pistol of some kind. And we'll explain that as we go. Not a revolver. I'm talking like a clone of a Glock 19, Smith and Wesson full size. Anything that holds 15 rounds or more. Equalizer from Smith and Wesson, the Big Axe from Sig, the Hellcat Pro, all these ones like that are going to give you more rounds down range. Why? Because we can transition, and more people, more transition right or left, and more people in the home will be able to use the handgun versus the shotgun. So let's take a family of four. We have father, we have mother, we have a daughter, and we have a son. The daughter's 16, the son is 10, the mother, and father, we're not going to talk age on them. Mother and father doesn't really matter. But both those are going to be able to control that handgun pretty well. And they may be able to run that shotgun pretty well. Do you think that 16-year-old daughter is going to run that 12 gauge shotgun? Not saying they can't, guys, but in a real situation, when they're a high stress situation, how easy would it be to grab the handgun and work it versus the 12 gauge shotgun? And then you got the young kid, he's not going to use the shotgun at all. So now we're cutting off half the family, a third of the family, from using the defensive product that you're calling the best of the best. The shotgun is a part of your portfolio, but it definitely would not be my first choice for you guys for the best uh, defensive weapon for the home. All right, let's talk about the weapon. This is where we talk about the handgun. Handgun, why? The compact, easy to store, maneuverability, close quarters, quick acquisition for deployment is rapid. You got to really, the cons of a handgun is you got to really take some training classes to learn how to use it. You got to continuously use it. You got to work on your fundamentals, and generally you're putting one bullet down range versus multiple bullets with a shotgun. But I can tell you this, give me a handgun all day long and I won't have the recoil management, because what recoil management does for us, it causes us to more flinching than a true handgun would. Now, this is a picture of an equalizer. It's at that edge of what we consider a full size weapon. The full size weapon would be anything with a 4-inch barrel or better, the Glock 19s, the 320s from Springfield, the Ruger products. There's a lot of different stuff out there, but something with some high capacity magazines is probably one of those choices that would be good for you. Now, I can tell you, you could go hybrid like you see this equalizer here. This equalizer physically has a 15 round magazine, a 15 round magazine, a 13 round magazine, and a 10 round magazine, and definitely by what we do here at the range all the time, 98% of the people who come here and shoot our classes, well, this is one of the weapons we show them on a regular basis, and it's a very popular piece for people to get started with, especially as a husband and wife are getting shooting together. You don't need to buy your pistol and her pistol. You need to get a pistol you both can run and be comfortable with, and this is the choice. You know, weapons themselves, it doesn't matter what it is as long as you're comfortable with it. There's no manufacturer that's better than the other manufacturer. There are some warranty differences. There are some, are they made in America, not made in America, and things like that. The whole concept of having a handgun is to be able to work through The shotgun is to get you to your handgun. Because one of the best things I can tell you about the handgun is I could transition right or left by leaning. If you're going down a right wall and you're right-handed, you're going to be able to use the wall as cover as you work down that wall. But if you're having to work down a left wall with a handgun in your left and you're right-handed, you're going to need to transition by your waist to get you down that left wall. Where the with the shotgun, you're going to actually have to put the shotgun on your left shoulder to work the left side of the room. And there's where transitioning with a handgun is a lot better than transitioning with any kind of rifle. All right, let's do the next one. So number three would be an AR-15 of some kind. Now the AR-15 for home defense is probably not the best choice. We talk about home defense. We talk about perimeter work, which is that 50 feet, 50 yards and in from your home. Now, an AR-15 definitely could be used for home defense. The challenge we have with that is that bullet has a very high velocity and it's going to be traveling at a large speed. So, standard AR-15 shoots anywhere from 2850 to 3200 feet per second. Now, taking that weapon and shooting it off inside your home with no earmuffs on, that is going to be really challenging. It's going to be very aggressive. Just shooting any weapon inside your home is aggressive, you understand. But to want something that's shooting off that much, that fast, and that quick, it is, triple the speed of sound. So it's going to cause a lot of challenges for our eardrums. Uh, you know, in a short distance, an AR-15 is one bullet. It's a small caliber, high velocity bullet. That's what it's designed for. It's excellent for medium and long range engagements. It's not really meant for home defense. Now, a lot of people want to buy one of these for home defense, but they're not really thinking about the overall effect of having that. The majority of the time in your home, when you have to go grab that pistol, you're not thinking about uh, you're not thinking about earmuffs. You're not thinking about any of that stuff. But the moment you pop that first round off with that inside your home, it is going. It ain't the movies, guys. It definitely ain't the movies. The secondary thing about an AR-15, because they make AR-15s in pistol calibers, which means you have a smaller barrel. But you're not burning off all the gases because this weapon is considered a gas impingement system. And that gas impingement system, it's using the gas to escape the bullet from the barrel, as well as make the bolt carrier group go back and put another round in the chamber. But there's always a flame coming out the front of these things. And the shorter the barrel, the more flame you're going to have. And that becomes a little more challenging because now you've got a flame coming out the front of this gun and you have very flammable stuff inside your home, like that couch or that drapery or whatever it is. So you want to kind of be careful of that as well. And keep in mind, over penetration is a real challenge for an AR-15. Now, keep the bullet itself is a 55 grain. Most of them are copper plated, so they're going to hit and expand and spall apart and break apart, but they tend to not stop in drywall. They're not going to stop. The old movie where all the good guys jump behind the couch in the movies, or they get behind the refrigerator. Well, the couch is not stopping a bullet, guys, and neither is the refrigerator. So we want to be careful of deciding the AR-15 is the best. Now, as far as recoil management, there's hardly any recoil on an AR-15. It's got a lot of noise, but it's not really got a lot of not got a lot of kick in the shoulder or the cheek. Uh, over penetration, risk the passing through the walls, hitting an unintended target. That's like anything. We gotta be careful. That's one of the rules we have here. Keep in mind, you always keep your finger off the trigger. Keep the weapon pointing down range. Assume the weapon is always loaded, and know your target and what's beyond. These are always that. And keep in mind you're responsible for your bullet until it hits the ground. So an AR-15 would be a choice. Again, I we talk about profile or your your um other weapons, if that makes your portfolio, and have an AR. A lot of people buy an AR-15s because you're being told you may not have one or you can't have one. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. And one of the things about the AR-15, they make so many different manufacturers now, um, and they make all different size of barrels with braces of stock. So they make them all kinds of ways. I will tell you, in my opinion, you don't need to buy a $4,000 AR just because it has a name on it that you recognize. Because most of the manufacturers that sell ARs now don't manufacture their own lowers, and the lower of the weapon. If you don't know what the lower is, it's see that picture of the DT. If we split that from the bottom to the top of the handle is the lower is actually the weapon itself because it's serialized. The top receiver, there's two pins that push that apart. The barrel and the top of that is not a gun at all because it's not serialized. The receiver is serialized, and most manufacturers do not make their own lowers. There's only a few manufacturers that make those, and Anderson and DPMS. These are manufacturers that make their Colt that make at one time makes their own lowers and everything else. And then basically right now, most of the manufacturers just call it up and say, "Make me 2,500 of these," at say Smith and Wesson or one of the other manufacturers, because they put them all together at that point in time. So you don't need to spend the money on it if you can't tell the difference of. In this sport model you see here, there's many manufacturers that make sport models, and from 8 feet away, if I took the logos off each one of them, you couldn't tell the difference between the two. Because most of what you're seeing on this AR is considered mil spec products, and the mil spec products itself is going to be more just standard stuff, guys. Okay, let's keep going. Revolver's a good choice. This is pretty simple. The only challenge you really have with revolvers, the pros of them, simple manufacture, low chances of malfunction. You have anywhere from eight. You can get it. Well, they have them now with 8 rounds in them. 357 with eight, all the way to 5 rounds. Typically somewhere between 5 and 7. The real challenge, majority of the time, is recoil management, the weight of it, and if you have someone who's has very light or low um, strength in their hands, one of the safeties on a revolver is the trigger itself. And the more you have the trigger pull back, because revolvers considered double action, single action, but you never want to cock this weapon for defensive purposes. You always want to run that double action trigger as much as possible, and the double action trigger will be more easier for defensive purpose. The moment you cock one of these revolvers, you're taking a large percentage of the weight of the trigger away, and it becomes more challenging in a high defense situation. You got to be very disciplined with that. But number four would be revolvers. Not a bad choice. If I'm going to buy a revolver, what I recommend mostly for you guys is to make sure you're using the 357. The 357 will allow you to shoot a 38, where if you buy a 38 revolver, you really can't add a 357 to it, but it gives you ability to do both at that point in time, whether it be 357 or 38. 357 is a high velocity 38, basically. They are different rounds, but they all work in the game. But if you have a 357, you can put a 38 in it, but if you have a 38, you can't use a 357 in it. It's an inch bigger, just a tenth bigger, and it won't work that way. But you can really tell the difference in recoil management. Right? All right, so now we're getting into some of the rifles that are out there in the market today. This is the Ruger Takedown. This is a semi-automatic. Very accurate. You can put a red dot on it. Quick follow up shots. Again, we talk about the over penetration, somewhat challenging. Now, this is a 9 millimeter carbine. This is kind of what we're looking for, the ultimate weapon, and I'm going to show you one here in a second. And then again, we get down to the point of it being a longer piece. This is an 18-inch barrel. It takes about maybe 16.5. I think this is 16.5. It's set there. It takes the cool thing about the Ruger one there. It takes a Glock mag or the Ruger mag, but it is less uh, less movable in tight spaces. So we got to kind of keep that in head. Why would I want a rifle like this? We're going to get back to that perimeter zone, interior zone. Let's say, for instance, we had to put somebody in a corner that wasn't the most proficient in the world and keep them in a tight space with their door entry and door out. No one could sneak up on them. This would be an awesome weapon for that scenario. Plus, the fact if you take a Glock magazine and put in this thing, they have those battle sticks that are 33 rounds. So it does give you the ability to have something. And anytime you can shoulder a weapon and look down the barrel, you're going to be more accurate with it than you would be if you're using a handgun and having it two hands touching it. It's not as accurate. That's one of the things why the rifles become sort of that, mm, maybe go to, because you know that you're gonna have to may have to make a little longer shot than you need to, or you're in a perimeter situation where you're 50 yards and in. You might want to keep them at bay with something like this. This is very tactical. About 8 pounds, not heavy, very easy, no recoil because it's being 9 millimeter. But you could put a scope on this, or you could physically put a red dot on there and be twice as accurate with it. Mhm. Now, there's shotguns and then there's tactical shotguns. Now, there's really, if you check these out, these are a couple pictures here. Most of the time, when you look at a tactical shotgun, you're looking something that's holding over 8 rounds. You have the extended barrel that gives you ability. You have a cradle or a saddle that holds extra rounds. Now, you have to be disciplined on these shotguns to learn how to run them. I'd recommend you take a defensive class with a shotgun. It's a total different way of loading. It's a total different way of how you load it. And back in the day, most of the sheriffs and the cops in the area didn't have AR-15, so they would use a shotgun that was set in their cruiser. And it was called cruiser ready, which they were not loaded, but all they had to do was rack it to put one in the chamber. But a lot of the guys would load their shotgun in the way they think they were going to need it. Buckshot, 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 slug, slug, which in turn would give you longer shots with the slug. A slug physically could go out to 80 to 100 yards in a defensive situation where they're held behind a car. They could actually get some penetration and get some overall distance with it, where the buckshot would be for close quarters and things like that. Tactical shotguns are designed for defense. This is your rock and roll, basically, when you put this in the corner. Now, keep in mind, you're going to have the recoil management. You're going to have the weight of it. You're going to have the challenges of it. But it is an overall thing. The features like pistol grips and extended magazines and enhanced usability. Each one of these shotguns can put a red dot on them. They have the ability to have some extremely effective at distances, shorter distances than a standard rifle would be. Uh, Cons, most are more expensive because of a standard shotgun is set with, um, not combat designs, where these shotguns have combat effects weapons. So in other words, have a little bit more beef to them. The receiver's a little tighter, and it has ability to hold saddles and extra bullets and all the stuff like that. Standardly, you're looking at 8 rounds in a tactical shotgun, not including the one that's in the the barrel itself. So you get nine bullets, nine shotgun shells. With if you did the buckshot, you're talking 9.32 caliber bullets. A lot of power in a short little deal like this. Now, this is definitely not something that a newbie would be able to put together. Standardly, majority of the time, you're running high brassities, so they're gonna have some major recoil that you got to work through. Now, a lot of times these are set for standard arm length people. I know I have short arms sometimes, so it's racking that slide or getting it back. Now, all three you see here are 12 gauge pump shotguns. Pump shotgun for home defense is probably the what I totally recommend because it's easy to load, easy to unload with semi-automatics. Not hard to unload, but there's some things you got to learn how to unload it. Yeah, but in the long run, one of these tactical shotguns, you're looking at you go Mossberg 590, for instance. Those 590s, they're not even the tac, but they're a little one step above. You can start somewhere around five and go up from there. And you're not going to get the saddle. You're not going to get the um, slings. You're not going to. You have to add all that stuff to this. The one in the, both those ones in the, on top, they've actually added Magpul stocks to those as well. But you can get them whether pump or you can get the semi-automatics as well. So number six would be a tactical shotgun, Pro Series. All right, number seven would be some kind of pistol caliber carbine. I did a class a while back. You know my feelings of a pistol caliber carbine. They're much easier to maneuver. We ran into a little challenge with the brace rules that are happening nowadays. That's still out in the open, but as far as my opinion, they're easier to run. Recoil management's going to be nudgeable. You're not going to have too much problem. A lot of these can have hold Glock magazines. If you're going to buy a pistol caliber carbine, they really only there's two manufacturers that really make magazines for them. You either have the Glock mag or you have an Uzi mag. And obviously, some CZs make their own proprietary mags. That's what you don't want. You don't want to get something that has a proprietary mag because the proprietary mags tend to be more expensive. You want something that'll take a Glock mag because the Glock mags actually have the 33 round sticks, and those 33 round sticks will give you the ability to have 33 rounds. What's the pros? They're manual, they're easy to handle. Than a full size rifle. They're going to be lighter. Yeah, they're not going to be. They can be stored a lot easier. Um, you can get them in 223. You can get them in 9 millimeter. You can get them in 40 caliber. You can get them in a lot of different. So I would highly recommend if you're going to get a pistol caliber carbine, that'll be 9 millimeter. Because the 9 millimeter, basically, if you start thinking about it, that's what we try to do with most students. Is we're using one bullet for everything we have. So in other words, Smith came out with a couple two different ones, but the one that it's the foldable FPC from Smith and Wesson, and that FPC takes a magazine. And if you get a Smith and Wesson 2.0, it takes the same magazine. So now you have a weapon, pistol, and a rifle that takes the same magazine, which is kind of a cool feature. You know what tends to happen, and here we go with the stopping power situation. The cons are they're less powerful than a rifle because they're not traveling the full length of the barrel, so you don't get the super velocity that you're going to get. Range can be limited effectively comparable to a rifle. But remember, if we're using these as our defensive weapon, what are we talking about? We're not talking about over 100 on these. We're talking about a home defense situation. I can tell you if you shoot a 9 millimeter off inside your home, it's going to be loud. But it surely isn't going to be as loud as shooting a 223 off in your house. I'll tell you that. And you'll be able to do it. And Now we got a weapon that almost anybody in the home can use again. So if you're going off on a trip, gentlemen, you can leave the FPC or you can leave one of these ARs behind, put the red dot on them, makes them super accurate, and then have the ability. And you could very simple to use, very easy to clean. It's probably the overall, in my opinion, besides the pistol, besides the handgun, probably the next thing I'd recommend is a caliber FPC or any kind of 9 millimeter pistol caliber carbine would probably be the best choice for you because it's going to be able to be movability. It's going to work around corners. It's going to work right or left, transitioning wise. You set a red dot on this, backup sights on there, your flashlight on there. You got everything you need to defend and be able to control the area basically without spending a ton of money. All right, let's look at this. So these are new. Again, I'm just showing you what's out there now. I would tell you that these new Rossies making these tactical lever actions in the 357s, the 38s, the 44 Magnums, they come in 22 as well. I wouldn't consider 22 a defensive product. But there are a lot of different manufacturers out there. A couple weeks ago, I was at a show and they had the Rossi makes these tactical uh, ability to put a red dot on. One of Natasha's friend has one of these in the 44, and he actually suppresses it. So he's got because they have threaded barrels on them, so it's kind of a fun little gun, and that threaded barrel takes all the top recoil off through there. um, Lever action has its place. Now, we talk about limited capacity. It reloads a little bit slower than anything else because we're not taking a magazine out of it. You're sliding the rounds into the tube from the backside. Um, it has a little bit more of a quirky little rifleman looking handle there, but it is something that could be used for perimeter work as well as inside the home. Again, transitioning right or left is going to be challenging with this. Now, if I'm going to have anything like this, I would make sure red dot was on. I don't know if you guys know this, but red dots, you can keep both eyes open and shoot. So if you're right-handed but left eye dominant, you're not going to have a problem because you'll be able to see right through that red dot on the weapon itself. But if you're trying to close an eye to look down the barrel, that becomes a challenge for most people because your dominant eye uh, can't look through there if you're shutting it. It's kind of a weird scenario, but most of the weapons like this would be shot with both eyes open, anyways. Same thing with a shotgun. A shotgun's designed to be shot with both eyes open. Handguns really, if you think about it, should be shot with both eyes open, but it is a learning capability. You have to learn to do that. It's not easy to do to begin with because your dominant eye wants to fight with your non-dominant eye. So you see two of everything out there. Just got to work it long enough to figure out which one you need to look at. Now, what I recommend to learn how to do that is to squint an eye. Don't close it, squint it. And if you squint the eye at that point in time, you'll be able to open it more and more as you start shooting. Your dominant eye will take over. The trick I tell everybody is take a cheap pair of safety glasses, preferably plastic ones, not real glass ones, and take a piece of sandpaper and sand the non-dominant eye glass, and that'll allow it to fog up a little bit. And when it fogs up, your dominant eye will automatically take over forever at that point in time. And that's all it needs is just a little bit of time of learning the curve. And once you learn the curve, you've got it. So, lever action rifle. All right, so now we're getting into these bolt action rifles. Now, I could tell you right now, this is not okay. Here's what we're going to say: having a weapon, then rather not having a weapon. If you're taking your 30-06 out to western Montana, and that's the only weapon you have, obviously, that's the bolt action rifle you're going to do. Doesn't really matter. Now, would I say a bolt action rifle is part of a home defense platform? No, it's not really, but is it a part of your portfolio? Absolutely, because if you're taking a like I have a 270 at home, and I use that 270 for deer hunting, hog hunting. I've taken it to Georgia. I've taken it to all of Florida. It'll do anything I need to do. Now, when I use that for home defense, if that's the only thing I could get my hands on, yes. But I've told you before, there's limited rounds, um, limited not the distance a part of it, but how you're going to work it. The pros about a bolt action is the precise, the highly accurate for precision shooting. Now, this is something that I can tell you, it's not highly accurate unless you make it highly accurate. You got to sight it in. Very reliable. Most of the manufacturers make really, really good. Where the challenge were most of these, they take some kind of a magazine of some kind or a clip. This is the only time you can say clip, and which could only, in a hunting rifle, you're only putting 5 shots in at a time or 4 shots in at a time. And that's not going to do real well when you're trying to be in a situation where there's multiple people. The zombie apocalypse, right? You don't want to have to keep loading, loading, loading. The cons are the rate of fire. It's slow rate of fire compared to a semi-automatic. Movability is going to be difficult, especially in close quarters. And there becomes the challenge of most things. I just pulled up this picture of the Ruger America. This is a great overall piece. Now they do make rifles like this that you see here that are semi-automatic, which will give you ability to do quicker shots, but you're still not getting a like an AR-15, a 30-round magazine or anything else like that. This is just a weapon you could physically, if you had to, and you only had enough money to buy one thing, you could use the bolt action. The challenge we have most of the time in a defensive situation where you're close quarters, this barrel is sticking way too far out to be in control of it the way you'd like to, especially cutting corners or doing anything. Bad guys on one side of the door, you're on the other side of the door. That barrel's going to go through that door way before you are. So you want to definitely, definitely make sure that you know your surroundings. Once you lose the front end of that barrel to a bad guy, you got no control in the back end of it. So, what I'd recommend a bolt action for home defense, if you any other reason that you didn't have anything else, and this is the only choice you were able to grab, then yes. All right, so now we look at number 12. This is the compact handgun. This is the home defense weapon and carry weapon. A lot of people aren't into buying 10 different weapons, 15 different weapons. Majority of the people who come to class, sign up for a class, don't even know it was not in their wheelhouse ever to have a firearm, let alone buying a shotgun, buying an AR, buying a pistol caliber carbine, buying this, buying that. Now we're going to get to all that. You're going to do it because it's part of your relationship or how you start getting to the next level, the next level, the next level. So majority of the time we tell people if you're going to buy a weapon, let's buy one that you can do everything with. And then as we get further along, we're going to work. So you see this picture right here. This is the Smith and Wesson Shield Plus, and this is the optic ready model. This holds 13 rounds of 9 millimeter. This can actually be carried during the day. Take it to your home, get in your pajamas, put this on your dresser, and do everything you need to do. Get dressed on a Saturday morning, take this to the range, and shoot it all day. Then put it back in your holster, carry it the rest of the day, and then take it back home at night, have it on your dresser, and it's a cycle. You work in and out, in and out, in and out. And this is where most people, because you look at this barrel length, the barrel length on this weapon is a 3.1 inch. Well, that's not big, but that's not small either, right? So it's got the most maneuverability. It's got the sight system that's going to work for us. It's going to give us the ability to be super accurate with a short, compact barrel. Because this magazine that you see in here is 13 rounds, but they make a 15 rounder. That equalizer I showed you earlier, well, that has a 15 rounder, and the 15 rounder will fit in this weapon. So you could carry this weapon with 15 rounds in it. And that'd be great for home defense, great for range time, great for home, great for carrying. It's got everything you need. Compact handgun, the pros of them is very concealable. And what that means, they're easy to store and concealability. A lot of people keep their firearm where? Where do you keep your firearm? Most people keep their firearm in a safe or in their master bedroom. Well, that's great and wonderful, except you're in the garage now and you're having a confrontation with some guy and your firearm's in your master bedroom. So how is that going to help you? What about having a weapon in the garage? Or what about carrying that weapon? Maybe what about having a weapon in a couple different rooms? And this is where it becomes something of, if I'm in a room, as my daddy would say, if I got my pants on, I got my gun on. And that's kind of what I do now. And that's what you need to get to, finding that weapon that's going to work best for you and work and fill all the needs you need. In other words. So that's, I carry a 9 millimeter in my pocket almost every day. Now, what I carry is a Diamondback 9. I can tell you it's aggressive. It's not a fun gun to shoot, but it's not designed to shoot long distance. It's designed to shoot that vital triangle at short distances. And that's the beauty of each weapon, to find the one that's going to best suit you and your what you plan to do with it. It doesn't matter whatever you pick, you've got to train with it, understand it, and build muscle memory for it. Or it doesn't matter. You're gonna I'm gonna buy this gun. Last week, no, it was 2 weeks ago. Lady took a class. She told me flat told me, I am buying this because someone has told me to buy a weapon. I don't plan to touch it. I don't plan to shoot it. I don't plan to do anything with it. I just want to make sure that I have it. And I was very leery about selling her anything because I didn't want my name to be on something that she wanted to have and never touch. Well, by the end of the day, guess who got a membership? Guess who started shooting on a regular basis? Because she was deathly afraid of it. And at the end of it, we went through the whole fundamentals with her, and she realized that she could control it and do what she needs to do. And that's the key thing. You run the weapon doesn't run you. And that is so important because many people come here from other states that have penalized or criminalized a handgun so much. So when someone sees a Smith and Wesson shield here, most people look at that as a deadly weapon. What can that do without you guys? Can it rack its own slide? Can it pull its own trigger? Can it load its own magazine? No, it can't do anything without you. So that's the key thing we need to get to. We run the tool doesn't run me. So compact handgun, concealability, easy to store, maneuverability. What's the power? What's the problem? Stopping power. I disagree with the stopping power part about it, but it is less power than a regular old firearm or an AR-15 or anything else like that. Your capacity is limited. Now, that's if you got the original shield, which was 8 rounds. What's the FBI say? The FBI statistics. I'm trying to remember. FBI statistics say you need 1.2 rounds. So anything that shot 3 rounds would work. It happens at very short distances, less than 10 feet away, and it happens 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning. So you don't need high capacity. You don't need anything else like it. What we're trying to do is to make sure we have enough rounds because you're assuming that you're going to get evaded or robbed by one person, but most people, even the bad guys, have buddies and pals. And when they're out their front door kicking the door in, and you only have 3 shots, you better make them count, guys. That's the key thing there. So the subcompact gives you the ability to shoot. Who has subcompacts? Every manufacturer has them. There's a one manufacturer that doesn't have some kind of subcompact. Now, some are better than others. Some are easier to rack. Some are easier to work. But every manufacturer, doesn't matter what you pick, they all have them, and it's a good starting point for most people. That's what we try to do majority of the time. Let's get the first one, then we'll worry about the little tiny one that you put in your pocket. Then we'll worry about the AR-15. Then we'll worry about the shotgun. Then we'll worry about the other stuff. The majority of the time, people buy all that stuff and never shoot them. The AR-15 that went through that whole craze where everyone bought an AR-15. That's the most gun traded back in because people don't shoot 'em. People don't shoot them. Why? Because they don't understand them, which are very easy to use, or they're costly to shoot. That's why I highly recommend make sure you pick up a 9 millimeter, very inexpensive to shoot, very economical to have the rounds, and you're not have dealing with the recoil management that you would have with anything else of bigger caliber than that. All right. Today we explored the top 10 home defense weapons, each with its own sets of pros and cons, from powerful stopping power of the shotgun to removability of a handgun. Each weapon offers unique advantages depending on your specified needs and comfort levels. Make sure you do your homework, figure out which one you want to do. Now, how do you figure everything out? Well, you do what you're doing tonight. You listen to YouTube. You go to YouTube, watch the videos, find the best pistol for me. Then you got to go verify it by shooting it. Now, a lot of times people go to ranges, and ranges do rent guns once in a while, but you can always find a gun store that has a trainer involved in it, like we do. You can take a try before you buy. That's the easiest and fastest way. No matter if it's an AR-15 or a shotgun, we offer those for all our classes and let people shoot them before they buy them. That way they understand what they are. Majority of people are buying the AR-15 for an FU purchase, and I don't need to explain to you what FU purchase is, but you're being told you can't have it. That's why you want it. But do you really need it, or is a pistol caliber carbine maybe the better choice for you? My opinion: a handgun of any kind, any manufacturer that holds 12, 15 rounds apiece would be ideal for home defense, and then get some kind of pistol caliber carbine. I think the best pistol caliber carbine right now on the market for the price point is that Smith and Wesson FPC. That's called for folding pistol carbine, and it's got all the bells and whistles you need. You put a red dot on top of that. It's foldable, guys, so it folds almost in half, so it's like 16 inches closed up. It holds two 23 round magazines and one 17-round magazine. It comes in a travel grade bag, no logo on it. There's a video on our YouTube channel about the FPC, the game changer, and how well it's shot. You'll hold me taking the video of me shooting it, breaking it down, doing all the stuff for you. Simple and easy to use. Anybody in the home could use it, and that's kind of the deal. And the shotgun, obviously, if you want to get a shotgun, that's the one that probably sit in the corner the longest because technically half the house wouldn't be able to use it. So don't do what you want to do, boo. That's I guess is what I'm saying to you. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm not telling you what you should have and you shouldn't have. I'm just giving you my opinion after doing this for so long. I know how many weapons I get traded in all the time that people have bought because they thought they need. I get a crap load of shotguns in that are trade-ins because people don't shoot them. They don't shoot them for one reason or another, and it just sits there. Because chances are, if you're going to come to the range and practice, which you need to practice with every weapon you buy, you don't want to shoot 8, 10, 15 rounds of 12 gauge in the range. Because in here, we have to use slugs and we can't use buckshot or birdshot because of our strings or our tracking system on our AR-15 on our range in the back. and you got to do high blast. And majority of all the semi-automatic, bullpup shotguns, things like that, same thing. You got to run 100 rounds of a high brass product before they even run any kind of birdshot or anything else like that. And most of the stuff you see, like the Caltex, the KSGs and all that stuff, all the bullpup shotguns, they all need to be broken in. The only one I would tell you that's probably something you look at without spending a ton of money is that Tocavor. Tocavor is a company that makes a polymer framed shotgun, real inexpensive. You would think that cheap of a gun would not physically work as well as it does. I've ran birdshot through that. I've run buckshot through that. It is a little aggressive because it's all compact. It's eight. It's an 18-inch barrel inside of a weapon. There's a video on our YouTube channel about the Tocavor as well. Not a bad product. Something you could look at, add to your portfolio, but it is smaller, and it could be easily put in the vehicle or anything else like that. So that being said, let's back this out of here. I'm back to here. And bring my beautiful mug back up here. All right, there I am. All right. Get a little juice here. Woo. All right, so let's go back and look at some comments and see how we did there. We're doing good on time, I think. All right. So where we were, Natasha. Oh, Danny, and then we stopped at Danny. Let me go here. Deborah, Deborah Hill from Maryland. We said hello. Tasha said it was so much fun on the 22 class. Okay, let's see. No, new to the channel. Beautiful, Deborah. I'm glad you're here, honey. Have you shot before? You a shooter or you new to shooting? Deborah, let me know, please. Welcome to the channel, honey. Loud Grandpa shotgun. Loud Grandpa. Are you really loud, Grandpa? Oh, then we have guns fishing in the USA. That sounds like a good song. What's he got to say? I have ammo, three pellets, and a smaller size slug, all in one. Not bad recoil for home defense. Is that the 2 3/4 inch stuff, or is that the 1 7/8? Now they do make a shotgun now. Mossberg just brought it out, so they have a 3 inch shell, a 3.5 inch shell, 2 3/4, 3 inch, and then they make a 1 7/8. And that 1 7/8 is called a mini shell. I think this is what Guns and Fishing USA is talking about. And that 1 7/8 has not as bad a recoil. He is correct, but those ammo is not the easiest to find. And you got to have the weapon that's going to work it, because a lot of times, because it's a small shotgun shell, it doesn't always cycle as best as it can. But Mossberg just came out with a pump shotgun that shoots the 3 inch, 2 7/8, and then the 1 7/8. All three of those, because the receiver itself has the lips that take each one of those. But imagine if you're shooting 8 in a 3 inch. Well, if you got 1 7/8, you're going to get somewhere around 14 rounds or something like that. Kind of cool. I have not shot that. I've shot those before, like the Keltec. This the KSG will run those short rounds because they have a long feed ramp that allows that bullet not to flip as it goes into the weapon. Because the Keltec, which is the John Wick shotgun in the first movie, it has two barrels and a lever switch to switch from barrel to barrel, but you get 14 rounds in each gun. With the shorties, you can get almost 21 in there, so it's kind of a cool feature. Thank you, Guns and Fishing USA, for saying that. Appreciate that. You are you new to boss? Have you been on the channel before? I don't recognize the tag, but that doesn't mean you probably just haven't commented before. Let me know if you're new. Guns and Fishing USA. Guns and Fishing. I like the shotgun. I can reload fast, so I have shells in my pocket. Yeah, yeah. AR-15, good for home invasion. Yeah, and he's saying that too. Always great info. Thank you, Deborah Hill. Very nice show. I really enjoy it and learned a lot. I'm glad you heard. I'm glad you hear that. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate that very much. Heine Biskov, hello, sir. Let's see what he's saying. Heaney, wouldn't a shotgun be a risk as always self defense weapon? Could shot be a risk? Okay. The challenge with shotguns, like I said before, is many people have the challenges of how they're going to use it, what they plan to do with it, and how much recoil management you're going to have. Over penetration is one of those things we have to be very considerate of, especially in a drywall home where the bullets don't know the difference between drywall and people. So you want to be very, very careful with that. Most of the houses, the front of the house is glass. Deborah's new to shooting. Very good. Uh, Deborah, on our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to that. We have a full five um, women's playlist, a big women's playlist of shooting and things like that that you can watch and enjoy. That 10 Secrets book I told you about earlier, that's a good choice for you as well. I did on that women's thing, Deborah, I did my daughter-in-law, our future daughter-in-law, we hope our future daughter-in-law. I did because I told my son you, if she leaves, you leave but if she has a choice, either her or him, we're going to take her. She's awesome. If he can't realize it, but I think they've been together long enough that they know what they want. Anyways, I taught her, and there's a whole video of me training her, which would help you tremendously get your foundation going. And you can always, Deborah, always contact me, and we can go through a little one-on-one with you and through the web here, and give you some advice on controlling the weapon and everything else like that. So it's great to see a lot of new people. We appreciate them. Um, Henny, where are you from? Henny Biskoff, where are you from, sir? Look, that's a new name too. I don't recognize. This is very awesome. We're proud of you guys for showing up this evening. Um, Let me get that current head there. And Deborah's new to shooting. Well, great guys. It's been a good evening. We're already at an hour. They could go by so quick nowadays. I think it's the Johnny juice. My buddy gave me some little juice there. I may have placed an order again. That's kind of nice. Keep in mind, I have a ride home. I don't. I know if I drink at all, I don't drive. So Jacob's here, so he's taking me home. Not that I say I was drinking, but just careful there. I don't want to think anything. So I want to say thank you to Mark J. Thank you very much for being here, sir. Jim, as always, hope you and your wife are doing well. Mark J. out of California. Thank you. So you're watching this. It's what California be 3 hours. So cool, man. Awesome. Chris, as always, my friend. Natasha's mom, Danny Schultz, Deborah Hill, Loud Grandpa, shotgun. He's all about shotguns. Thank you for being here, Loud Grandpa. Uh, Gun and Fish USA, appreciate you very much. Thank you. Um, Hene, I don't want to say it wrong. Hene Bishkoff. He called me a good sir, so that's kind of nice. I am a good sir. For responding, I am. Oh, wow! He's in South Africa. I'm very much responding. I am from South Africa. Also, first time watching your channel. Definitely interested in seeing more. Oh, that's awesome, dude. South Africa. That's great, man. This is what I tell you about this, man. I am blessed and humbled each week to see how many. Oh, I had a last week. I had one of my customers who's actually from Brazil, but he was in Antarctica last week on a ship, and he is able to watch the show. Imagine that, right? And now I have South Africa. That's pretty good, buddy. Yeah. So there's a lot of there's 478 videos that we all do hands-on stuff there. A lot of it is some are shooting tips, some are drills, some are how tos, some are just a lot of different stuff. Feel free to watch all of those, use them all. Get the free book, the Amazon the free book. Those are awesome for you because it is information that you need to know. So we're getting to that hour. It's Tuesday. You know what that means? It's taco night, and we're going to get off the show here. But I wanted to say a couple things to you before you guys leave, guys. It's very important you understand how much I appreciate what you guys do each week for this small dream of mine. Many years ago, I had a dream to build a training facility, and it came to fruition. And we use YouTube and we use a lot of different stuff, which I thought I never. Why would I use YouTube to promote my business? But it surely promoted a lot of our things. We're at a point of almost 30,000 subscribers and over 4 million views. Now, we're not really monetized as much as we'd like to be due to the fact that um, the GUN thing. They don't like that as much. But I can tell you, if you like what we do and you want to support us in any way possible, the first and foremost thing you want to do is to make sure you hit the bell icon, the like, and the subscribe button, and you can physically support us that way without monetarily putting any money towards us at all. But if you like what we do and you want to support us in a very minute way, like Natasha, like Jim, like Chris, you can support us through our membership program. And our membership program is $2.99 on a monthly basis. And what that does for us, it allows us to buy new equipment, new stuff. We're still doing all this stuff with a phone. If I one of these days I want to do a behind the scenes thing and show you how ragtag this thing really is. It's amazing to me that it comes off every week without really having too much problems. But you can click one of our memberships and become one of our members, which we do shout outs for you. Once we get to 10 members in the membership program, we're going to do a video a week privately for you guys. We're going to do a one on one with you guys in a training for situation. We're going to do a lot of different stuff that the member only program. A lot of these videos that we're putting out, you're going to get them first as members. And at the end of it, that's part of what we want to do. We want you guys that are supporting us to get as much back from us as possible. So when we get our new t-shirts in, we're going to send out free swag to you guys and on and on and on. A lot of our members that are on this are are so so passionate about our channel, and we appreciate that very much. We're getting a few more little things here. We're pretty big on self-defense and big game hunting. We usually 275 and a 308. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Big game. You gotta have the stuff that's gonna stop the big animals. That's the key thing, especially in South Africa, buddy. I'm sure it's beautiful. Now, is that different weather now? Is it wintertime there or is it summertime there? I don't never knew that, so we need to know that kind of stuff. We'll wait for a few seconds, see if he comments back on that. And if not, we're gonna head off. Do 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 do. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see one more. See if makes a comment. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Says he's typing, so just give me a second here. Enjoy your time. Oh, Deborah, thank you very much. Enjoy our taco night. Yeah, you know what happens. It's quick and fast and easy to cook, so that's why we do tacos on Tuesdays. Tacos on Tuesdays. Danny Schultz, thank you very much for saying goodbye. We appreciate you very much. All right, so we're going to call it this evening, guys. God bless. Be safe. We'll see you next week. And remember, I love you guys. Good night.